Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rise and Lead Women's Leadership Perspectives. I am your host, founder and CEO of Diverse Perspectives, ChèRee Wiley. And today I have a special guest with me, Dr. Crystal Lamb, who just recently received her DNP just over the last week. So we're so excited. Dr. Crystal and I went to college together. We have been friends since 2003 when we met our freshman year. So it is so hard to believe that it has been over 20 years of just fun and fellowship. We are part of a wonderful community of sisters who uplift each other, who encourage each other, who continue to push each other to reach the next level. And I can honestly say that without friends like Crystal and the other people that are a part of our community, I would not be sitting here today. Like, that support was so important, going through college and through all the other things that I have, sought to do and accomplish over the years. They have always been there just pushing me on. And that is so important, especially for women in leadership, because a lot of times it is hard for us to find those spaces. So Crystal is here with me today to continue our conversation about motherhood and leadership. So thank you so much, Crystal, for taking out the time to just sit down and have a conversation with me. How are you today?
So I'm doing very, very well. And I was thinking about your introduction. And do you mind if I just tell how we really, truly, truly met?
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I know. I mean, we took an African American Studies class together, and that's how we kind of met in class. But we stayed in the same dorm, and I'll never forget one day you were in our room, and you realized that I was the crystal that your roommate had been talking about. Remember that?
That is so true.
Tremaine, you can cut that
Yes.
out, but yeah.
Yes.
She was like, "You're the crystal." So sorry, that was a little tidbit that came back into my mind. But no,
Yes.
seriously, I am so thankful to be here with you. I'm doing well today, and I will say truly, having strong women in your corner who support you, uplift you, is so important. And I will even say, back in college for us, even when we did our thing, but we were serious about our studies and doing what we need to do to be successful. And I truly feel that, our core that we had, we held each other accountable. Even when we had fun and stuff like that. And I know I always tell the story, and I know, again, this is probably going off script, which you don't want to talk about. But Sheree was always my girl. I always tell people about when we would go out and have fun, you would come to me and you would stare me in the face and you would give me the rules and the regulations for the night to make sure that all was well. And even though I know we laugh about it now, but I know you was just trying to hold me accountable and keep me safe. Even when we were just, trying to have fun, because we were in college. So we did, live it up. But on a more serious note, we've had some very we've had life events, right? And so with that, it has been awesome to have people in your corner, that you can really lean on in those vulnerable times. I mean, we've had some, l- you know, I don't want to say traumatic, but kind of traumatic, life events that have only grown us, I think, into the women that we are today. So thank you for
Absolutely.
having me. And I just want to say, girl, I am so proud of you. You're a phenomenal woman, phenomenal writer. Anytime you set your mind to something, you get it done. So when I, saw you doing this, and I was like, just anytime you want me to be on whatever subject, if I don't know a lot about it, I'll try. Uh, but I'm so proud of you, girl. So
Thank you
proud of
so
you.
much. I appreciate that. And the same to you. Like, being there to support you with you, getting this degree, I was just like, yes, keep pushing, because it's just so important. And so, we have to uplift each other, because a lot of times when we're in spaces, we don't have that support. And so you have to find your community, you have to find the people that will support you through it, and having people that you can connect who know the real you, like, that you don't have to pretend to be somebody
Yeah.
else because they already know what the deal is and they don't judge you for that. for your past mistakes or your present
Yeah.
decisions. That is so very important to help you to just keep moving forward. So I appreciate you being that for me all of these years.
Absolutely. So true. So true. And, just talk about women in leadership, the higher you go, um, I don't know, your space starts to look a little different, right? You see one, more men, and then two, women of color, it's kind of far, few and in between. So we have to be there for each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Crystal, you are a mother of two beautiful children and you are doing all the things. So, everyone wants to hear more about that as well, because I know there are a lot of women out here who are trying to juggle it all. And, some people make it look more easy than others. But the reality is that, we all struggle with certain things, but we have to just keep pushing. So, please share with us your journey and, your perspective of what it's like to be a mother and to be a leader.
Well, if I'm to be just very honest with you, these past 5 years, so I'll start in 2019 because that's when I actually started my doctoral journey. And even prior to that, going through school and, losing a parent, I lost my dad when I was 25. And going through that, my daughter was only one. She was born with health conditions. We spent like the first 2 years of her life in and out of Duke, hospital. And so, just even that time in my life was very challenging. But fast forward to 2019, I'm starting my doctoral journey, and my mom lives with us. My mom had come to live with us, and I actually spent my first day of my doctoral program in the hospital room with my mom. She was admitted for pneumonia, ended up with some complications, and end up on dialysis. So from 2019 till my mom passed in 2022, I was her caregiver. Between me, my husband, my sister, we took care of my mom, and she lived with us, and so I did home dialysis every day. For about 2.5 years. So not only was I going to school, I'm full time, caregiver with, for my mom. I'm a wife. I'm the mother, like you said, of, I don't want to tear up anything, but God could not have blessed me with better kids. Honestly, my daughter Brielle, she stepped up, stepped in to help, and she's now honestly, it's kind of interesting. She's kind of took my mom's role a little bit because she's literally like the chef of the house now. My son Alex, he loves me unconditionally, so he could always tell when my spirit was off because he likes to cuddle, and he tells me he loves me a trillion times a day. um but having all those responsibilities and then being in leadership roles right in my career. So registered nurse since 2007, went on to get my master's in nursing education to teach in 2014, and then I ended up actually teaching academia, at in a college. Well, I'll just say it at UNC Greensboro, my alma mater. So I kind of went back there. But even going into the roles that I went there, it was a lot to juggle. It was, and I'll be honest. In nursing, and this is just the facts, I'm not making this up. It is still a predominantly white female profession. We are getting more men into the profession. But even as we go higher, I have my master's to teach. Now I have my DNP, so I have my doctorate degree as a nurse practitioner. The higher up I've gone, the more spaces I've been a part of, the more less I see me, the more less I see the reflection of myself. And so I've gone through a lot of moments where I almost like I've had an identity crisis, so to speak. And so I've really had to lean in on my village, the people who know me, such as yourself and some, other key people in my life, to really dig into who God has created me to be, right? It was a lot of self reflection, um, just going through leadership and again, all the things I've done. And now that I'm stepping into a new journey in my career as I transition to nurse practitioner, more responsibility, right? So now I'm more accountable for the community in which I serve, but also count it as a blessing that God has given me the platform, the knowledge, the experience to be in this role. And so now I'm just, I don't know, just trying to be a mom, be a wife, be a leader, um, be an example, be a mentor. There's so many things, but I don't even remember what the original question was, but that's what that's what I've gone to.
No, you really
But yeah, so next question.
no, you answered that question very well. I think it's beautiful, and I think you point out some very key things for us to just kind of uplift, because the reality is, as you said, the higher you go, the less you do see yourself reflected, and imposter syndrome is real. We get into these places, and it's like, do I really belong here, because I don't see anybody else like me? And sometimes even when I uplift my voice, people don't really
Mhm.
understand my perspective because it's different than theirs. But you also say, for one, that's why it's so important for us to keep pushing, because there's so many voices that get left out of the conversation because our perspectives are not present. And so the responsibility that we
Mhm.
have to the community and to the people that are kind of looking up to us to say, hey, you are in this space now, what are you going to do to help us? Right, because you understand our struggles a
Yeah.
lot more than some of the other people that have been there longer than you. And so us finding that peace and that place, and like you said, having that community and finding those safe spaces where we can kind of recharge, when we can get that encouragement that, hey, you're not out of place, you're not misstepping, you really bring something valuable to the table,
Right.
you need to be there, because just like you said, you're called to this, and for such a time as this is the perfect time for you to be in those
Mm.
spaces, to uplift the voices of people who will never ever enter those spaces. And so that is beautiful. So you answered that
Mm.
question very well, because that is exactly the encouragement that others need to hear, because I know that we're not the only ones that have experienced that. And as you said, the higher you go,
Mm.
the harder it gets at times. And so thank you so much for what you do. You kind of hinted at this because you are kind of transitioning. So, I think that it would be great for us to hear, what do you have in mind for what's next? Because again, you are serving as mother. That will be your role forever. Even when our kids are grown and out of the house,
Mhm.
we still have to mother them because they're still learning, and we have experiences to share with them. But also, your career is moving in another direction. So, if you could just share with us a little bit more about what's next for you.
Okay. Well, just going back to the motherhood part. So, one of the things about all the transitions I've gone through, and like my husband can vouch for me, we have gone through so many transitions in our time together. Being a mom is something that I've always mentally and emotionally struggled with. You have that guilt, right? I want to do my career. I want to get that degree. I want to get this role, but what are the sacrifices that I'm going to have to make? And a lot of times it was my family, right? Well, especially when my mom, was here with us, because she then became a priority as well. And so what I'm currently doing right now is I'm taking a breather. I'm taking a pause. And I'm so thankful that God again has given me such a great partner, who has held me accountable, right? With finances. I know this is not where we're going with this, but financially, we have created a space for us, for me to be able to take this break, because I promised my kids, if y'all just get mommy to May, that I would take time off this summer to be with them. And so
Mm,
that's what I'm going to do. I have my PRN nursing job that I am working, but I am actually being intentional about being a mom this summer.
mm,
We're making dates together to, go bike riding, go to the park, all the things that I was not able to do when I was getting my doctorate degree. So in this moment, I am taking time to reconnect with my kids. But then after that, because again, the bills still got to get paid. And savings, won't go but so far, if you're not working at all, or, what you're used to making. So once I find that job, nurse practitioner job, which currently right now I'm in the interview process for a couple of roles, I plan to do that full time to get my experience as an adult gero nurse practitioner. I really want to lean in my nursing education background because I'm a nurse educator at heart.
Mm,
And so my goal is to continue to move forward with my DNP project that I worked on, again, increasing awareness of cardiovascular risk that impact Black men. Here in Guilford County, where I live, I'm a native of Alamance County. So again, I plan to do some work there. But my career, the next step, I got to educate my people.
mm,
I need the community to understand what is happening with their bodies, with health. We hear all about health disparities. Oh, they're real, and the data proves it. But what do we do about it, right? You hear all this stuff about exercise, eat good foods, don't eat junk food. But what does that mean?
right.
All the pamphlets say the same thing, but how do we create a tangible, relatable, doable system for people to adhere to? And so part of my next step in my nursing career is to do just that. Get experience as a provider, but then also create that space, that environment to actually educate the community. And I have various ways I want to do that. I don't want to kind of spill the beans yet. I'm working on some things kind of over the summer. But I do plan to spread the good news. The good news.
That is so powerful. And again, we have to find balance, right? And so, you're making a conscious decision to put your children first and to do what really is going to fill your heart up too, because you do need an opportunity to kind
Mhm.
of refresh. This has been a long journey for you, and you are acknowledging that you need that time to rest and to reset and to recharge. But also the true leader in you is saying that you have a responsibility to give back. And I think that that is another important point that comes from a very unique place, because there's some leaders who don't understand how important it is for us to think about the fact that leadership is really not about us. And a lot of times people kind of miss that
Mm,
point. A
yeah.
lot of people think that leadership is about them, but really leadership is about the people that you lead, the people that you're responsible for. That is what true leadership
Mhm.
is and what it really looks like. It is selfless. And so you are setting the table for that, which we appreciate, because as you said, the things that are on your heart are very important, and our community needs to know and understand, because a lot of times no one is taking out the time to explain those things. And so, I agree
Right.
with you how many times a physician will tell someone, oh, you need to do this, this, and this, but don't give you any kind of steps, any
Mhm.
understanding. Well, what does it mean? Oh, just you need to change your diet. How do I do that? Oh, you need to exercise more. How often am I supposed to exercise?
Right.
You need to do that. So having though that understanding and having someone to take the time to sit down and really explain to people what they can do to improve their quality of life is so necessary and so needed. So I greatly appreciate the work that
Absolutely.
you are doing, because it is going to really impact and change a community, which can then change a generation, right? Because once the people that you educate get
Yep.
education, then they can pass that on. That's why knowledge really is power, which I've heard you say that before, but it is so true that this is how we uplift and this is how we lead.
Absolutely. And you bring up a good point about leading. So going back to being a mother. So one thing that I won't say my husband and I, we really want our kids to understand that, things that you want in life, you got to work hard for, right? But at the same time, you still have to be honest and true with yourself. As a family, we've lost some significant pillars of our family, during these past, couple of years. And so I have definitely had to be more open with my emotions, open with my feelings, and letting them see it. When, losing my mom, even losing my father in law before I lost my mom, I had to let them understand that it's okay to be angry, to be sad, to cry. But at the same time, like that is what tell me, now you can finish crying, but the homework is still gonna be due when you finish wiping your tears,
Yeah.
but acknowledging that. And
Mhm.
so I feel like we've done a very transparent job at being honest with how we feel. But also knowing we still gotta, meet our requirements, our obligations, and things like that. So it's been a very interesting journey for us. But like you said, as a leader, as a mother, I have really been intentional about modeling good emotional and mental health through
Mm,
all of this. And so that's why I'm being very intentional about taking this break and being present with my family. And I think as women, as mothers, especially mothers like you and I, who have been career minded,
mhm,
I think sometimes we forget that part because society tells us that we have to do A, B, C, D, E if we're going to get to the top. But in that, we step on a lot of people, we burn a lot of bridges, and we lose connection with those who mean the most. And one thing I've learned through my losses is that all I got is sweet baby Jesus in my village, in my nuclear family, which starts with my husband and my kids.
mhm.
These are the people I see every day, and I need to be present for them. And so, even through all the things, all the big dreams and goals that I have, because trust me, they're lofty, I have to keep my family at the center. I have to keep them at the center because I need them to know that I love them. And it's not conditional, and that I'm their mom first before I'm a registered nurse, before I'm a nurse practitioner. Um, and so, I don't know. I just think as career women and career mothers, sometimes we lose that because society tells us something different. But my God tells me through Him, I could do anything, and I could be a mom and have a career, a successful career at that. So, um, yeah, I just had to throw that in there because that's been very important for me as I've accomplished these things. I have to be who I am and be transparent and role model for my kids how to do it in a healthy way.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I 100% to all of that. Crystal, I thank you so, so very much for taking out the time to sit down and talk with me. You have made such wonderful points, and I can't even add anything on top of that because that was just like the mic drop at the end. But, I just appreciate it because it is about balance, it's about family, it's about doing all the things, but God has given us the grace to get it done. And so, I just appreciate you. I appreciate your journey. I appreciate the relationship that we have, and that, I know that this is just the beginning, just the tip of the iceberg, because you have such a beautiful soul. Your passion for people and for wanting to help and to give back is so genuine, and you are going to do amazing things, no doubt. I am positive this is not the last time that you will be on this podcast. So, just keep that in mind. But I thank you so much for your time, and we will be back in 2 weeks. And so, thank you for everyone who is tuning in, and look out for more from Dr. Crystal. Be sure to share her information at the bottom of the video, and we will see you next time.